Hello. So today we're just going to look at some of the questions that we were doing for our assignment that were on composite area of composite shapes. So let's just get started right away and look at number 1. So number 1 is a composite shape, and they've broken it down for you into 2 rectangles. And we remember our rectangles, our formula for solving the area of a rectangle to be length times breadth. So A equals length times breadth. Just 1 second. Just bring up our calculator. Okay, so A equals length times breadth, and we have 2 areas here that we need to add up. They've given us A1 and A2 as the different areas, so the total area is going to be equal to A1 plus A2. And to find out A1 and A2, well, we're just going to use that original formula from the start. So we have A1, make that a little bit bigger. Let's just go 6, and A1 we have is going to be equal to, well, length and breadth. We've got 26 and 13. 26 times 13. So we'll just put that into our calculator. 26 times 13 is equal to 338. 338. Alright, and now area 2 is equal to 12 times 17. 12 times 17. 12 times 17. Let's put that into the calculator. 12 times 17 is 204. 204. Now, to find out our total area, this is going to be equal to A1 and plus A2. So 500, we'll write it out, 338 plus 204, which is going to be equal to 542. Now remember, it's centimeters squared, because we're dealing with area, and the units we used to define all these different lengths were centimeters. Alright, so let's just make some more space, and then we'll do 2. So 2, we are looking at a triangle, and we remember the area of a triangle is half area, half times base times perpendicular height. So if we look at this, we zoom in, if we look at this shape here, we can see that it's just a triangle, but we have a square taken out of it. How do we know it's a square? Well, these little lines here indicate that these sides are equal. This side is equal to this side is equal to this side is equal to this side. So when they give us one of the sides, they've really given us all of the sides. So what we need to do is we need to work out this area. In order to work out this area here, we need to work out what the entire area of the triangle would have been, and then take away the chunk that makes up the square. You can think about this as kind of like if we had say some cookie dough and we rolled it out into a big triangle, and then we chopped out a square cookie from it. How much area would be left over? So if we look at if we determine the area of the triangle, so area, let's change this again. Oh wait. Let's change it to 4. And if we look at area, the area of the, let's just put triangle, this is going to be equal to half times base times perpendicular height. We have not been given the base or the perpendicular height, but we can work them out, because we know that the base is going to be equal to this length here, which is 2.5 meters, plus this length here, which is the same, we worked out is equal to 0.6 meters. And we can do the same thing for the vertical height. We see that this length here is 1.2 meters. And what's missing is that 0.6 meters. So, if we add those together, the entire length, the entire perpendicular height of this triangle is going to be 1.8 meters. And the entire base length is going to be 3.1 meters. So, if we plug this into our formula for the area of a triangle, this is going to be half times 3.1 times 1.8, which is equal to, let's bring up our calculator, 0.5 times 3.1 times 1.8, and we put 0.5 in there for the half, to represent half. We could also do divided by 2 at the end. So, 2.79. The area of the triangle, before we took the square out, the square chunk out of it, was 2.79 meters squared. Alright, now we just need to work out the area of our square. So area of our square is going to be 0.6. It's going to be the same as area of a rectangle, its length times breadth, but in the case of a square, it's just the length squared, or one side length squared. So the area of our square is going to be equal to 0.6 squared. And 0.6 squared, where are we squared? It's just going to be equal to 0.36. Nope. 0.36 meters squared. So, now that we have the entire triangle in the form of this answer, and we have our square in the form of this answer, we can work out our area of our entire shape, of our composite shape, by first taking our area of the entire triangle and minusing our area of the square. So our total area is going to be equal to 2.79 minus 0.3. Let's just undo that. 0.36. 0.36, so that's 42.43 meters squared. And that's how you solve number 2. Alright, so let's look at number 3. Number 3, we have a rectangle, and we have a triangle that's been chopped out of it. This triangle has been chopped out of our large rectangle. So we follow the same procedure as before. Let's determine the area of the shape before we took a chunk out of it, and then determine how much that particular triangle is going to be so we can take it away. So we have our area of our rectangle is going to be equal to length times breadth, which is equal to, well, they haven't given us exactly, but we can add it up. These two quantities added together are going to give us one of those dimensions, and these two quantities added together are going to give us the other. So, if we add these two together, what do we get? We get 143. 43. And what do we get for millimeters? And if we add these two quantities together, what do we get? We get 96 millimeters. So our area of our original rectangle, before we took a chunk out of it, is going to be 143 times 96. 143 times 96, which is 13,728 and 28 millimeters squared. Now we need to work out our area of our triangle. Well, our area of our triangle is given by area is equal to half times base times perpendicular height. So that's going to be equal to half times 75 times 42, which is equal to 75 times 42 times 0.5. 1,575. 1,575 millimeters squared. So the area of our total shape, our total area of this composite shape is going to be equal to this quantity of the rectangle if nothing had been taken away, minus this quantity here, which is equal to 13728 minus 1575. 13728 minus 1575. So that equals 12,153. 153 millimeters squared. Alright, now let's look at this last one for this first half of the questions. So we've been given this shaded area to find the shaded area. Well, we also notice that this is encased within a rectangle. And because it's encased within a rectangle, we can say that we could determine the area of the entire rectangle, and then take away this shape here. We know this shape is a kite, and a kite has a special formula for it. The area of a kite is equal to half times the product of its diagonals, which we'll label this one x and this one y. So half times x times y, or half times the product of its diagonals. So we work out our area of our rectangle, take away our area of our kite, and we should have the shaded area. So we do, the area of our rectangle is going to be equal to, we'll call our rectangle A1, and we'll call this A2. So area of A1 is going to be equal to 62 times 155. So let's plug that in and go 62. Well, it's already there. 9,610. 9,610 millimeters. Well, let's look at area 2. So area of A2, which is our kite, is going to be equal to half times the product of our diagonals, which is half times the product of our diagonals. What are our diagonals? Well, we know that this length here is one of our diagonals, and it's exactly the same as this length here, and we know that this length here is the other diagonal. We know it is also this. So this is equal to y, and this is equal to x. So our area of our kite becomes half times 62 times 155, which is equal to half times 62 times 155, which is equal to 0.5 times 62 times 155. Oh, made a mistake there. Let's undo that and do half times 62 times 155, which is equal to 4,805. 805 millimeters squared. So our total area is going to be equal to the area of our rectangle minus the area of our kite. And we can see from before that this is half of this value, so we should find that that our answer is also equal to 4,805, but let's put it in anyway. So we will get our calculator out and we will do 9,610 minus 4,805, and we should get 4,805 millimeters squared, which is our shaded area. Okay, so I will see you guys in the next video.